Wow, that's not good. So I actually have to start over, I guess, because my oh my goodness, how funny. My nobody told me that I was off. Okay, so let's do this again. And that's going to be crazy because nobody's going to want to watch this show. So, hey, I'm Laura DeCarlo of Career Directors International. And if you're starting currently, thinking about starting, or actively building a resume writing or career coaching business, I'm so glad you've joined me. I'm starting over because I don't know until I watch the recording when it is that my audio went out. I might have hit it while I was talking. So, in this show, we share tools, strategy, and mindset tips that lead to your ultimate success without the stress. And today we're doing something a little different. We're still talking about how to grow your resume writing business with the power of a 2025 TORI Award. We are streaming on CDI's Facebook page, YouTube channel, and LinkedIn page. But don't worry, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. I'm not going to make you jump through hoops. Just share your name with me in the chat when you jump on so I know who I'm talking to. And if you don't know me yet, my goal is to become your not so secret superpower. At CDI, we provide everything you need to love and excel at what you do so you can make a difference while earning an exceptional living as a career professional. So, in just a minute, I'm going to start talking about winning tips for resume writers in TORI Award preparation and planning. But first, please drop a hello in the chat. Let me know who you are and where you're calling in from. And be sure to include your name the first time so I know whether I can see you. Second, if you have questions, be sure to put them in the chat. And third, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, depending on your platform, so you don't miss when I go live. Hi, Mason. I can actually see your name, so you are good to go just to comment as we go forward. Um, so, if you are looking for insider secrets and strategies to TORI preparation and planning, I can't wait to share that with you today. And if you missed last week's show, 7 Ways You Win Just by Entering the Tories, you can catch it on our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn channel, or our Facebook page. But real quickly, let me give you that link where you can also just find it on the CDI website. So this is the landing page for the TORI Awards. You can also go to careerdirectors.com and click on programs and then go to awards. But that is the link that will take you there, and the replay is at the top. All right. So if you were here with me last week, give me a yes in the chat. All right. So if you're not familiar with the Tories, let me just give you a very, very quick roundup. So this is the 25th year of the Toast of the Resume Industry resume writing competition. It has 10 categories, which I will list for you later because we did make a change this year. All categories consider writing first, so having all the bells and whistles won't even get you nominated if the writing isn't there. And we have two types of categories. We have high design, which are the more visually dynamic, but yet hopefully still ATS friendly. And then we have classic design categories. With 10 categories, there are 5 chances for nomination in each, and then first, second, and third place winners. So there are 50 chances for nomination and 30 chances to win each year, which gives it a lot of opportunity. It's also the longest running resume competition for a reason. Specifically, it challenges us each to stay fresh and up our game on behalf of our clients. It creates a platform for excellence. And just as importantly, over the years, winners and nominees have referred to the Tories as the lowest cost, highest ROI way to grow your business. Listen, there are no guarantees in life, and a lot can depend on what you do with a nomination and win. But the popularity of the winners page and what our winners, including myself, I haven't been able to enter in many, many years because of my role with CDI, but I know what it did for me and I know what it has done for others. There is a reason you see repeat winners because they understand the value of an award and the credibility it creates for job seekers. So, again, last week we talked about the 7 ways to win just by entering. So, be sure to go check that out if you didn't watch that yet. You can get it at the top of the page that I've listed here at the bottom of my screen. And all right, if you have ever entered the Tories before or you understand the value of the Tories, give me a yes in the chat. All right, so talking about planning and preparation to make this your year. And I'm going to take this URL off the screen and take a quick look at the chat. Okay, nothing new in the chat. So if you go over to careerdirectors.com and click on free stuff in our navigation, you're going to see one of the free lesson categories is Q&A tips on TORI awards from winners and judges. So we reminded our members and email subscribers of this just last week. But in there, when you go there, we've sourced advice again from the winners and the judges on a variety of subjects from ATS and design to what winners focus on when selecting their entries and what judges look for in winners. Plus, there are replays of my show where I interviewed 2 to 3 winners at a time last year to get their up to the moment tips. And members, you don't need to go to the free stuff page. Just go to your member dashboard, resources, and look in the resume writing category. There's an entire section dedicated to TORIs, and you have access to some amazing video tutorials from some of the top winning TORI award winning, that's a tongue tire right there. Some of the top TORI winners in the world. Yeah. All right. So the 10 tips I have for you here. So number one, enter multiple categories. And I'm not telling you that because, ooh, we want your money. The TORIs, if you were to register for all 10 categories, you would qualify for a free group mentoring hot seat coaching session on a resume of your choice with me, which is a $450 value. And it would only cost you $250 to get all 10 categories because they are priced according to how many you get. The reason we tell you to enter multiple categories is it's like anything else. The more opportunities you give yourself, the better your chances. You don't know which categories are going to be bloated and popular with entries. You don't know what your competition looks like. If you enter more, you're going to have more chances. And I know for myself, when I went to my very first conference, one of the first things I did in my career, which is like maybe almost 30 years ago now, I was standing in line at the booth to the front to give my name so I could get my name tag, and I said, I'm Laura DeCarlo, and the person behind me said, you're Laura DeCarlo? And I was like, oh gosh, what did I do? And I was like, yes, why? And they're like, you have more resumes and America's top resumes for America's top jobs than any other resume writer. I had no idea about that. But the reason why is because when there was no limit given on how many resumes I could submit, and I didn't know what my competition would look like or what they were looking for, I submitted as many resumes as I could, which meant I ended up with 18 in the book. And that's kind of the philosophy I have followed. And when I swept the TORIs the first year with the most points, it was because I gave it my all. And it's a lot faster to climb a mountain if you're only doing one step. 10 steps at a time is going to get you there faster. So we always recommend to enter multiple if you're writing resumes in those categories, because it can just increase the speed at which you make it to a nomination and get noticed for that. All right. If you can understand why it's beneficial or it's benefited you in the past to enter multiple categories, give me a yes in the chat. And now I will move on. I don't see anything in the chat. So, number 2, focus on metric driven candidates. So, when you're picking resumes to use in the TORIs, it's always going to be important that you're picking people who have had achievements. Think about it. When we work with job seekers, even with ones who have the most vanilla of careers, our goal is to pull data out of them that gives them the unique return on investment that employers are looking for, because a hire is an expense, and we want to show how our job seeker realistically can be a profit driven center for them. Are they saving money? Are they streamlining processes? Are they saving time? Things that they may never get noticed for, but we need to pull out of them and turn into effective stories that move the needle. So you're going to have more trouble with this if you say, look at the healthcare category and you choose a medical technician versus a medical administrator. Look for the candidates that have results because those are always the resumes that have the easiest chance of shining because they have achievements in them. So, metric driven candidates are always going to be your best approach because they need to stack up against the other entries. It's no different from when a job seeker applies from a job and they apply with an award winning resume writer's resume, which is all true, but it's pulled out the story and the achievements. They tend to rise to the top much faster than the candidates who had just responsibility driven and keyword driven only resumes. So if this makes sense, give me a yes in the chat. Third, we want to study prior winners. And I believe I spoke about this in my last show. I'm not doing these each week because I know how busy everyone is and how busy I am. Um, and so literally don't remember how much I talked about this. But to me, well, yes, it's one of the ways you win. I know that's correct now because you study prior winners and you start to pick up on new things you hadn't thought of before. So, if you're going to enter, it makes even more sense to study prior winners because you'll see the techniques that are working today and how information can be presented in different ways that you might not have thought of while you've continued, to do things that work, but maybe aren't pushing the needle. So, definitely study what has worked in the past, be inspired by it. Don't copy it because we are looking for originals. And if you actually, I remember one time, like 7 years after someone won, somebody else exactly item for item, not words, but design, copied the format. And, we had to go to the person and say, I'm sorry, this already exists in the TORI winners. It's right there. So, please strive for originality as you do with every client you work with. So, if you look forward each fall to when we publish winner resumes on the TORI page, please give me a yes in the chat. All right, you guys are pretty quiet here. I don't know if I threw everybody off with those moments of silence with my mic issue. I don't know if you can see it, that it's green, and I just happened to look down and see it was red. I must have, when I touched it, shut it off. And I won't know till I watch the recording how long it was off for. All right, moving on to number 4. Add a line to your client agreement about competitions and book submissions. So, if you're a CDI member, you have access to our sample contract, and this is one of the things we include. Is whether your client's giving thinks they're going to give you permission to include their completely fictionalized, like my contract specifies, changing names, addresses, contact information, company names, dates, and educators, so that it isn't that person, but still it retains the format and the wording, and they get to say yes or no right in the agreement. And that way, I don't have to go get permission at the last minute scrambling to make sure it's okay if I fictionalize. When you do that throughout the year, you're able to know, what might be a potential resume you want to fictionalize for not just the Tories, but other competitions and whenever book opportunities come up to get your resume writing in books. So if you've done this or you're going to do this, putting a line in your agreement, let me know in the chat. And we are already halfway. We are at number 5, which is to study the TORI and resume lessons. So I talked about this before I got into the top 10 items I have here, so I don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Remember, go to that free stuff page in the careerdirectors.com navigation, or members go to your resume writing resource page to the TORI category. All this great information from people who have paved the way with their excellence, their dedication, their expertise, and their passion for resume writing and design. It's out there for you to learn from. So take advantage of it. All right, if you've done this using the CDI resources, lessons, the free stuff, the members only stuff, give me a yes in the chat. Let's move on to number 6. Have someone you trust or pay proofread. This is the single place where you can get assistance with your resume, is with the use of a proofreader. Everything else you do, the design, the writing should be original to you and obviously your client. Um, but proofreading is it's a different kind of skill, and we see beautiful resumes come in with typos because people are just blind to their own mistakes, or their eye doesn't see engineering, it sees engineering, but a third party proofreader can pick that up. So, I mean, trade with your colleagues that you trust. Utilize a service. This is one place where you can get assistance, and I recommend it for every resume that you write, that you work with a proofreader, because it's really easy for you and your client to miss things. Um, I'm just The only reason why I said is I'm thinking about a client I'm working with right now who these are things we have to make sure. As a side note, outside of the Tories, make sure your clients are double checking their name, their phone number, their email address, because I just had a client who had errors in those, and that's kind of a destroyer. Not what I had, but what he brought me that someone else did for him. So we don't want that. And you definitely don't want that for your clients going out there or for the Tories. So if you agree with me that proofreading your own work is hard, give me a yes in the chat. I don't know. Last time I had this silent of a session. But all right, we're on to 7. We're, 3/4 of the way there. Keep a folder of favorite resumes during the year. So if you're getting that advance permission, it's super easy. You know which projects you loved, which ones were the juicy ones where there were lots of results, and whether the person let you be creative or not. If you wanted to go in a high design category, doesn't matter, because that's fine tuning that you can do in the fictionalization process. But this makes it so much easier than trying to think back and go, well, did I have somebody in high tech or sales? If you're putting copies in a folder specifically for award competitions and resume books, you're always going to have it right there at your fingertips, and it just makes life so easy. So if you've done this or you're going to do this year, give me a yes in the chat. And let's get on to number 8, which is make your resumes clean, crisp, and clear. All right. So this walks some interesting territory here on what different people think means clean, crisp, and clear. What I mean specifically by this is, don't just follow fashion trends for fashion trends. This is not a competition of who can have the fanciest resume, even with the high design. These resumes should be very, very strategic. And now I'm not a judge anymore, so I don't have any say. I'm probably more picky than most people are. But you need to think, at the end of the day, this is a marketing tool, and cluttered, busy, tiny fonted, overly bolded. Think of all the things that just are noise versus clarity. You want the design that you use and the way you position words on the page to help an employer be guided to what is going to be most important to them in the decision-making process. You want colors that, if you're using colors that are representative of that individual and are appropriate for the industry. So just and this is not just a Tory lesson, this is a life lesson in resume writing, is that you're looking for harmony, balance, consistency, readability, and drawing the eye. So always don't think about how small can I make my margins and how small can I make my text. It's more of, how can I say the same thing in less space, and how can I use visual elements, be they shading or bolding, to help draw the eye to something without having to just put a lot on the page. So if this makes sense to you, or if you have questions on this, well, ask me the questions or just give me a yes in the chat. And I will move on to number 9 of 10. All right. So, and I might have jumped the gun here. Nope, I didn't. I did mention this earlier, but layout is important to accessibility and interest. but writing always trumps design. So, again, I said earlier before I got into the 10, the 10 strategies and tips for planning and preparation is that it's not always the most beautiful resume that even gets nominated. I will have people contact me and they'll say, "Why didn't I get nominated?" And I'll say, and I'll look and it'll be like a beautiful resume, but there won't be the content is just not up to the par of the ones that got nominated or ultimately won. So don't just go, I'm going to blow it out of the park here with the best resume that look they've ever seen, because we're going to look at that and it might attract the judge's initial attention, but it won't qualify if the writing isn't superior. This is a marketing tool. Resumes are marketing tools, and I can't say that enough, especially after some of the resumes I have seen this week from alleged professional resume writers that break my heart that people have spent money on. So, learn to be an empowered writer. And yes, it is kind of funny that some of the ways they say you can figure out if AI wrote something is if it does this, this, and this. Well, those are also the things that master writers in every craft do. So don't let that dissuade you. You are putting power into marketing and individual writing first. The design should complement the writing, the industry, and everything else. So definitely make that design shine, but the writing has got to be there. If you agree that writing should always be first, but needs to be complemented by good, readable, and engaging design, give me a yes in the chat. And when I say that, I'm even talking about the classic design categories, because design isn't about just throwing color and designs and call out boxes and knockout text. It is about being able to do all those great things in a classic style and still draw the eye. All right. Number 10, get free coaching with me. So I said it, I think, when I was on mute, and I didn't repeat it again off mute. But when you buy all 10 categories of the Tories by May 15th, which is Thursday of next week, you qualify for a group hot seat resume coaching session with me. Um, Off the top of my head, I can't remember if it's 2 hours or 90 minutes. I think it'll probably depend on how many people sign up or how many people qualify and how many submit their resumes. How it works is you buy all 10 categories. To give you an idea, I have the sliding scale. One category is $40 and 10 categories drops it to $25. So you're making a $250 investment with a chance to enter all the categories. And on top of that opportunity, you're getting the $450 value of being in a private small group virtual meeting with me. You don't have to come on camera. I'm not going to say whose resume is whose, but you have that opportunity to submit a resume and get my feedback. And I do have high-powered mentoring, resume writing mentoring programs that are pretty expensive. I charge, I think, $13.50 for 3 one-on-one sessions. But in this bonus free opportunity, everyone who attended last year except one person won a Tory. And some of those were people who had tried in the past and not won, and they won last year. Now, the one out of the 10 categories they invested in, they only entered one. And what we say was one of our issues is enter as many categories as you can, because you don't know what your competition is. So it's a great opportunity to get coaching with me. I think you all know who I am and all my blah, 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 resumes for dummies, 17 placement and resume writing awards, la, 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 la. I help make resume writers the best they can be. So if this sounds like an awesome bonus and a way to up your chances, give me a yes in the chat. And it looks like I have 11 items. So to close this out, I'm going to give you probably what's the most important tip, and that is to make your Tory time non-negotiable, even if that just means that it's studying winners and upping your own game, whether you enter or not, which I suggest you do because a year can be a very long time in the world of especially self-employment or appealing to companies to be a subcontractor or looking for work as a resume writer elsewhere. When you have an award, it can open up doors for you. So if you make this non-negotiable, if you put time slots on your calendar now, you're going to increase your chances that you don't end up with the flu when you thought you were going to do this the last 72 hours before the competition closes or whatnot. Listen, I think registration, I know that's sad to say, I think, I'm not looking at it right now. Registration doesn't close until mid July, and then you have to like the first week of August to submit your entries. So there is plenty of time. But if you wait till the last second, you might not be able to fit in what I call a TORI date night, which is where you're just so excited, you're up all night. You know, you don't want the date to end, but you'd be dating your computer to finalize the fictionalization of your TORI entries. So, listen, winners and nominees, they enter because awards, they just matter more than ever today. You know, we've got job seekers out there navigating a sea of fakes, scams, underqualified resume writers, those who are overly reliant on AI, and thousands of resume writers with the same base certification and no other differentiators. When you get a verifiable award, it's going to attest to the excellence of your core resume writing service, and that can be worth its weight in gold. And I lean into the awards every year, despite the fact that a banner year for TORI entries was 70 people entering. And again, 10 categories, 50 chances for nomination, 30 chances to win for second and third places, and only 70 people in a banner year entered. Um, I know that most people don't want to know where they're deficient. Most people want to just stay in their lane. Many, try, and if they don't make it, they would rather turn a blind eye to improving and just go, "Oh, what I'm doing works." But I would challenge everyone to think that this is your livelihood, but also you're holding the lives of job seekers in your hands. And I know I say that an awful lot, but I feel very, 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 very strongly about the fact that, job seekers rely on you to be the best you can be. And so it is so incredibly important for you to take that extra step. Now, I am going to show you, it'll take me just a second to get there because evidently it appears that I didn't have this on my screen yet, but I'm going to share my screen, hoping this works. And this is that page I told you about, going from programs and courses to awards. So I'm just going to scroll down, look away if you're somebody who gets dizzy. But I promised I would once again show some TORI results, reasons why people continue to enter. So, helping my business grow 2 times faster. Come on. Made the most lucrative marketing investment in 14 years with the Tories. Marie Platt. Marie Platt has a lot to say about the Tories. In 2018, I took the leap of faith, entered in one third place, has expanded my clientele. Many clients have told me blah, 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 set me apart, give me a call, help me gain credibility. There's this one, Melissa, just being nominated last year, doubled my business on average. I've had to revamp my production and project management processes, and I'm looking to bring on a subcontractor. So even nominations can have huge, huge results for you. All right. Sorry about that. And no, I'm not sick. I don't know what's going on here. All right. So tell me, what would you be willing to do if you thought you could raise your prices, double your traffic, and work with ideal clients? That's what some of those testimonials you can look at on your own say. Let me know in the chat. And I've told you about the special opportunity. Seriously, don't miss out on that. It is a great chance to get feedback from me. Again, it's all anonymous. I don't say, this is Tom Jones's resume. Look at the things he did. It's an opportunity to get feedback from someone who trains and coaches the world's best resume writers. All right. Again, shared this last week, but for anyone who missed it, we do have a 2025 category change. There are still 10 categories this year, but we did away with classic high tech and replaced it with classic sales. I just, I'm repeating myself from last week time, but that's just a really fun challenge. And I want to see how resume writers take job seekers with impressive metrics that look so good as visuals and present them in a classic style. So, again, I mentioned we have 10 categories, classic and high design. The 2025 categories are difficult transitions, classic difficult transitions, high tech, sales, classic sales, healthcare executive, classic executive, new graduate, and classic new graduate. Competition has been open for a few weeks now. And I've shown you, I'll just put that link back on the screen while I continue talking for you to get more information. All right. This is where we are at right now. Registration will be open until Wednesday, July 16th. You need to have purchased at least one category by then to be in the game. Submission deadline is Wednesday, August 6th. The deadline for the bonus is Thursday, May 15th. And again, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe so you get notifications about my show. Our next episode isn't going to be until Wednesday, May 28th, where I'm going to be talking about TORI competition excuses debunked and offering the opportunity for more Q&A. Now, don't forget, you can go over to the CDI website and click on free stuff to get a lot of great resources for the TORIs. And if you're a member, you've got all those great tutorials as well. So with that, I see nothing in the chat. I see no questions. I'm going to thank you for joining me today, and I hope I will see you living large in the TORIs and becoming our next 2025 nominees and winners.